Hey guys, I am Danielle Crumley. I'm your former Miss Universe V and your current Miss Longevity and also your Miss South Carolina Nations National. I will talk more about that later, but I'm going to give you guys a minute to hop on so we can get started with this live. So I'm just going to go in here and invite some of you guys and get ready. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's a sunny day here in South Carolina, so I'm pretty happy about that. So definitely you guys hop on and let me know what you guys are up to today. So if you guys are just now joining, hi again. I'm Danielle Crumley. I am your former Miss Universe V. Right now I'm your Miss Longevity and your South Carolina's Miss Nation Nationals. And I will talk more about that in just a minute. So I'm going to give everybody a chance to hop on. So you guys comment below and tell me how your day is going. I am having a good day here. Like I said earlier, it's sunny here in South Carolina. So it's definitely a good day. I'll definitely be spending the rest of the day outside. So we're just going to give everybody a few minutes to hop on, and then we will start. Hey Burgundy! So I've got a few people that are hopping on, so we're just going to give them a few more minutes to hop on, and then we will get started. So one of my favorite things to do is participate in pageants, but most people actually don't also know about me is that I'm actually a car girl. So you look at me right now and I am all dressed up and you're like, wow, what else does she do? Well, I actually attend drift events and do different things like that, and I partner with my pageant organizations to go by and bring children who suffer from cancer and bring them out to the tracks and have them interact with me and my sister queens and meet different organizations. I've been with MUI going on 3 years now. It's been one of the most interesting facts and parts of my life. I have had so many experiences with them, and I will talk more about that in just a minute. So, like I said, I gave you guys just a few minutes to hop on. I'm Danielle Crumley. I'm your former Miss Universe V. So that means for 2019, I was your Miss Universe V. So I just actually transferred over and become Miss Longevity. So Miss Longevity is the title that is given to our queens once their reign is up and they retire. So it's like a lifetime queen, so I'm always going to be a part of the sisterhood. And also, I am right now, surprise, competing in November in our other part of the organization, Miss Nation Nationals. So I'm actually the representative for South Carolina for Miss Nation Nationals. So I will be on the competition side starting in November, competing and meeting all of my sister queens. So today we're going to talk about tips on budgeting, pageants, and extracurricular activities. All of these are very, very important, and they play a huge part in my life, and not only being part of the MUI organization and the Miss Nation National, but my daily life. So some of the major things we also have going on with MUI and Nation Nationals is we have an organization called Kappa Nu Pi. Kappa Nu Pi is where we have different girls from all over the area, different title holders, where we all come together as a sorority, and we share our platforms, our tips, our tricks, different advice, and my favorite thing to talk about is budgeting. So of course in Kappa Nu Pi I talk about budgeting, and we have girls from all over the country, and this November they'll actually be coming to our luncheon that we're going to have in November, and we get to meet everybody and have discussions and just have a really fun time. So if you look above and below in the comments, you'll see the links for the MEY, Miss Nation Nationals, and the Kappa Nu Pi pages. We all have Instagram and Facebook pages. The Kappa Nu Pi Instagram is actually under some construction right now, but that'll be up in a few days. So definitely check MEY and Miss Nation Nationals out on Instagram and Facebook. And like I said, I dropped the links below, so they'll be there for you guys. So like I said, one of my favorite things to talk about is budgeting. So I'm like the queen of budgeting because I am a full-time teacher. I participate in pageants. Like I said, my fun fact about me is I love cars. I love doing things like that. So sometimes when you have a lot of different aspects that you really love to do in hobbies, it kind of gets expensive. And I'm on a teacher budget. I'm also on a student budget. I know what it's like. So having to pay bills and still find ways to keep my hobbies that keep me happy and make me who I am. So that's what we're going to talk about today, is budgeting not only for pageants, but your extracurricular activities and your life. So one of my favorite things to do, let me grab it real quick, is always to have my handy dandy tablet or computer or laptop or phone or whatever you have, and Google is your best friend when learning how to start to budget. Because what do? I go on here and I go to Google. I always use research and finding out what are some things that I could do to help my life. So one of the things I do is I either get on my laptop or computer and I search for deals and deals and deals. And guess what? If you don't have a computer and laptop, old-fashioned pen and paper. That's the first thing you do. Break that out and make a list. Make a list of reasonable goals. Make a list of important dates. I have a calendar that has my pay schedule on it because I know I get paid on the 1st and I know I get paid on the 15th. Let's just say I do because I'm a teacher, so that's my pay schedule. So I know that on the 1st I have this bill that's due, and right beside it I write what it normally ranges. Now, of course, things happen, and sometimes those bills are a little higher or a little lower. Things happen like that. But I make a consistent list of what normally would be the price range. So, these bills I pay on the 1st, these bills I pay on the 15th. And I also bring out my calendar book, and I write those things down. So I always keep a list of writing down. So first is to make realistic goals for yourself. If you know that your phone bill is due on the 1st, or your power bill is due on the 1st, or your rent is due on the 1st, those are the first things that you worry about. You worry about your necessary needs, and then you find ways to work around including your hobbies. So like for me, most of my bills as being an adult, they're usually due on the 1st. So I budget and I write those down and I pay them off, and then my hobbies, I will use extra money from my 15th check and I'll save and I'll put back, and I will use those on my future hobbies. So one of my favorite things also to do is to save. So if that means, even if it's just taking $1 and putting it in a piggy bank, or taking that leftover change that you really don't want to spend in the store because you don't want to sit there and count it out. Hey, take it home and put it in your piggy bank. Because that's how a lot of times I've found extra money that I didn't even know that I had. It's because I forgot that I even took it and put it in a piggy bank. And then guess what? Hey, oh my goodness, I want to go do this pageant and there's a $50 entry fee for an optional that I want to do, but I don't know where I'm going to get any extra money from. You have a piggy bank that has some extra money in it. So, those are always a good idea. My next thing, like I said, is step 2, is always write down your income and your expenses. So things change every day with your income. You may have things that happen, like you get a flat tire, or you have a doctor's emergency, or things like that. But how you prepare for those is to go ahead and include possible situations that could happen like that. So like for me, I'll set a little bit of money aside and think, okay, well, this could possibly happen, so let me put it in savings. Like I said, even if it's just $1 or something like that. Number 3, this is a hard one for everybody. Separating your wants and your needs. You need electricity. Do you really need that new pallet? Or could you find a way to maybe get the new pallet later on after your bills are paid, because maybe you decide to start a side job, a side hustle, anything like that, that could maybe help pay for some of your expenses. Definitely one way to budget and definitely save, especially for me, traveling. I travel a lot with MUI and my other titles that I hold. So for me, planning ahead of time is a major key. I sit down, I bring out my calendar book, and I look at dates. I look at dates, and then I go on to Google or my favorite app like Skyscanner or Hotwire, any of these third-party sites, and I compare prices. And I take the time to make sure that I have my dandy list and I make notes. And so I'll go in there and I'll look and say, oh, well, Hotwire has this amount of price compared to this site, compared to this site, compared to this site. And you never know what you'll find. Sometimes third-party sites are cheaper, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's cheaper to book a flight with the airline straight out. So one of the most important things to do is just to do your research. Researching is definitely how I spend most of my money, and saving money as well, because definitely traveling, especially in the pageant industry, when you have a title and you hold multiple titles, definitely gets expensive. So I like to definitely do my research and compare prices. My next thing also when budgeting and saving money and traveling is I like to organize. Organization is key for me, and that's especially key for me because I fly a lot, and flights are very expensive, if you all know. If you've never flown before, luggage is definitely a very expensive thing. So one of my favorite things to do is to learn tips and tricks on saving with my luggage. So sometimes I will fly third-party airlines that are cheaper. The seats may not be as comfortable, I may not get a snack, but that's okay with me, because most of the time I've eaten before I'm getting on my flight, or I'm going to the airport and I can buy food at the airport, or I'm going to a lunch meeting with my pageant sisters. So I'll use third-party airplane flights, and I also use these little things right here. These are organizers. You can put different things in them, like your clear liquids, and you can fit so many different things in there. And I will put these in there and I'll label them and I'll put them in my suitcase, so that way I know where I'm going and what I'm doing. Hey, everything's in this one, I can pick it up, I can go. Some ways to also help with budgeting and traveling that I do is some of the items that I don't need, like I wouldn't recommend it if you have like sensitive skin or sensitive hair. I'm lucky enough that I can mostly leave shampoos and conditioners and stuff at home, and I just use the stuff at the hotel. That makes less room in my luggage, so that's less luggage fees I have to pay. But I know some people can't do that, so you get the little organizing pouches and you put your reusable bottles in there. You fill them up with your shampoo and conditioner and you take them with you, because it's cheaper to fill up your own little individual bottle than it is to have to go buy a brand new bottle when you get there. And some of my also favorite things about budgeting is making connections. When I say making connections, you're like, oh, that means talking to people. Yeah, that means talking to people. That means getting out in your community and being involved. I know personally myself, I have some local boutiques here in my local area that I've partnered with that I shop regularly on a daily basis. And I go in and I'm in my crown and my sash, and they know who I am and they know I've done business with them. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a sponsor. I've shopped here. I support your business. I've done this. I've done that. This is how I can also help you. If you guys sponsor me, I can promote you through the organization. I can promote you on Facebook. I can promote you on social media platforms. And I've had some local business sponsors give me some sponsorships, so items. I've had a few items, like some of my favorite jewelry has come from some of my favorite local shops. Just some of the sponsors I've had in the past, and such different companies that I've looked at. You can actually find a lot of deals online if you just look and price check and see, because I know that there's been some times that I've found a company that's running a special, and I've looked at their products, and it's a product that I really need, and originally I couldn't afford it, but they're running a special, so that special really helps me out. So the more connections that you make with people and companies and things like that, they can help you get some of the things that you need, because they're willing to sponsor you, or they're willing to give you a discount code, or they're willing to get a percentage off. So that always helps. I know that myself, I'm the queen of always reusing what I have. So like these earrings are one of my favorites. They're very expensive, but the lady who I bought stuff from time and time again, she saw, hey, this girl's really making a difference in her community. She promotes my business every time she wears my stuff. She gives back to her community. And guess what? She gave me a discount code, and that took me a percentage off earrings and things like that. So I was able to get more stuff to be able to put in my pageant collection to be able to reuse. Also, one of my favorite things is not only the clearance rack, DIY projects, and pageant resale boards. There are plenty of pageant resale boards online. They are amazing. They have so many different options that you can look and see and compare prices. And they also give you a chance to interact with sister queens that you may not know of. You may want to buy a dress that a girl wore in her last pageant that's stunning and beautiful, and you would have never known about her if you wouldn't have been looking to buy a dress. So not only do you get a good product, she gets her product sold, but you meet a new friend along the way. I've met so many girls in the pageant industry that I know that they've bought dresses for me, or I've bought dresses for them, or I've rented out things for them to borrow, or I've gave them things to borrow. So making connections is also one of the biggest ways of helping you budget and make a difference in not only your pageant career, your extracurricular activities. It doesn't just have to be pageants. You can be in a car club like I am. And I know that we have friends that we borrow things, or we ask them, hey, where did you get this? And we help them find the best deal that they possibly can, and help them. Recommendations are definitely a great thing. And you're like, well, I really like this shop, but I can't afford to buy everything. That's okay. You can support them in other ways. I know right now there's a lot going on with the virus and everything around, so a lot of people can't shop. But that doesn't mean you still can't support your local businesses. You can, especially a business that you've done business with in the past, you can give them a shout out, you can give them a review, you can give them a recommendation to somebody, and that recommendation will go to somebody who may go to their store and buy something, and then they mention your name. And they're like, oh, yes, this person, I love them. They come in, they shop, they do this and that. I've had that happen too. I've had girls ask me, hey, where did you get this from? And I tell them, and I give them a link, or I give them a Facebook page or Instagram page, and they'll go in and they'll want to buy something, and they'll tell the owner my name, and I'll check my inbox a couple days later, and they're like, hey, you sent me Sari Jo. Sari Jo bought this, and she loves it, so I just want to give you an extra special treat, like a discount code, or next time you come in, hey, 20% off, or I'll help you with your sponsorship ad. Those are some of the best ways that you can also budget, is to make connections, because there's so many different ways that you can get things from people without having to spend a lot. So definitely one of my favorite things to do is definitely make lists and research and research and research and research. So let's see. So some of our main things on budgeting and everyday life expenses is make a list, and make a realistic list. Write down what you really can afford and what you really can't afford, and make goals. Let's say, hey, I want to do this pageant that's taking place in December, and I first find out about it in January. So I sit down in January and I make that list and I make that goals. And if that means, hey, I want to do this pageant, but I need a little bit extra money. So if that means I have to pick up a few babysitting jobs, or if that means I have to maybe not go to Starbucks as much so I can spend what I spend on coffee to pay for my pageant, then I'll do it. If you're motivated enough to do it, you will do it. If you're not motivated, you won't do it. You won't accomplish it. But anything that you set your mind to, you will accomplish it. Like I said, I live on a teacher budget. Everybody knows teachers don't make that much. But what I do is I find deals. I put in the effort. And I give back to my community. And that helps pay off for me, because it shows people that, hey, she really cares about her community. She helps us, so why don't we help her? So if you guys... Oh, we have some comments. We have some people watching. Hey, guys. If you're just now joining in, I'm Danielle Crumley, your former Miss Universe V, your current Miss Longevity, and your South Carolina Miss Nations Nationals. We're talking about budgeting and for pageants, your current lifestyle, or your extracurricular activities. So definitely this right here is all of the notes I've gotten from previous orders that I have, people I've ordered from. I keep these things because you never know when one day you're out and about and someone's like, hey, I see that you have these really pretty earrings. Where did you get them from? You can show them, or you can tell them, hey, I went to this store. I went to this business. And they can get an item just like you. So, making lists, being organized, and keeping up with everything is definitely... It's a commitment, but budgeting will definitely pay off in the end. I've been to New York, Orlando, Texas, all over the country because budgeting has helped me in my everyday life. Oh, we have some questions. My favorite part about MUI and UNN is definitely the sisterhood. We are a bonding sisterhood. I've been with MUI and UNN. Well, UNN I just joined, and so I'll be competing in November. But I've been with the system itself for 3 years now. And I have met some of the most amazing girls in the world. I have sister queens all over the country. I live on the East Coast. They live on the West Coast. I'm still talking to them to this day. I'm still invited to their weddings. I watch the children grow. If they're little, I've watched them grow and mature and become the person that who they want to be, not only in the pageant industry, with their extracurricular activities, if they do dance or gymnastics or cheer, or volunteering in the community, or going after the degree that they want to go for, and just achieving their goals. So definitely the sisterhood has been one of my favorite parts about MUI. One of my definitely favorite trips that I've done with MUI is definitely every year when we have our nationals. We go to Orlando, Florida. And I love Orlando. I'm a Disney fiend at heart. And so that's definitely one of my favorite things to do and favorite things to be a part of MUI. And budgeting helps with that a lot because, like I said, I not only have titles with MUI, but we have a non-compete clause, which means that you can also compete in other systems. So I have titles with other systems. So not only do I travel with MUI and UNN, but I also travel with those systems as well. So having a budgeting mind not only allows me to do what I love, but also pay my bills at the same time. Because it gives me the break that I need, that pageants give me. Pageants bring happiness to me when some days at work I may have a bad day. And I may be stressed about paying a bill. But then I'm like, I pay that bill, and then I flip over my calendar book that I always keep handy on me, and I see, hey, I'm going to Disney in 3 days with my sister queens for a trip because I saved and I budgeted and I made things work. We have another question. How has budgeting made competing in pageants easier, and what do you believe is the easiest way to budget coaching sessions as well? Competing and budgeting, that has definitely, I know personally for me, made things a lot easier. Especially with competing, because finding a deal, like a deal on a dress, a deal on earrings, deal on things that you can use constantly, definitely makes a difference. Because I know that with me competing in multiple systems, I can't always buy a new dress, or I can't always go to the dress store and buy a brand new dress. But resale stores, sponsors, things like that, and reusing things that you have in your wardrobe already and sprucing them up and adding accessories that, hey, accessories you may find at a discount rack somewhere. I know that I've gone to pageants and I have maybe wore a check-in outfit that I found on the discount rack for $20. But guess what? I dressed it up so well, nobody knew it was $20. It looked exactly like something that someone has bought in a store for $70. Because it's also not about what you wear, it's how you wear it. You can be dressed in the most beautiful dress that's gorgeous and costs a lot of money, but if you have no confidence in yourself, it's gonna show. So if you not only have confidence in what you wear, but confidence in yourself, it will help make things so much easier. And coaching sessions, yes. My favorite thing about coaching sessions is finding a coach that works with you. Doing your research, getting opinions from people who have certain coaches who are in the coaching industry, looking around, and finding a coach that works with you. I know that I have a coach that, personally, I'm upfront with them. I give them a layout. Hey, this is my schedule. This is what I get paid. Like, what are you ranging from? It's like investing in a house, or it's investing in a car. You have to find the right person that's going to not only get the job done for you, but also give you what you need. And being honest with them about your budget is one of the first things that starts. Because sometimes people, they're like, oh, they go off by the name of their coach. And they're like, okay, but then they don't find out, how much it is or things like that, and then they get sometimes stuck in a situation where, oh, well, I know they had a big name, but now I can't afford to pay them. It doesn't work like that. If you're upfront and you do your research, you won't end up in situations like that. I'm lucky enough to have a great coach that I can be honest with and knows a lot of my situations, and we schedule sessions around my pay periods. Like I said, I get paid on the first. Most of those paychecks go to bills. So we schedule sessions around the 15th. I know for myself, I do my own hair and makeup for appearances. And I budget into different days that I have. So for like my nationals, sometimes for me, because I have a lot of anxiety and some people are like that, I don't feel comfortable doing my makeup for my nationals. So I make sure that I budget in time for a hair and makeup artist. And I find one that works with my schedule, that works with my budget, and I use them for my nationals. But I make sure that while they're doing my hair and makeup, that I'm learning things to take back with me. So I find out, they tell me what my skin combination is, what colors look good on me, what are some good brands, and I take back that information and I go home and I use it, and so that helps me also budget with having different coaches, because I can go home and say, hey, I took the advice that you taught me and I went home and I got dressed for an appearance and everybody thought I had my makeup done professionally. Okay. Yes. So I had someone type in and they wanted me to talk about my big national title. Like I said, I am a former queen for MUI. I am the current South Carolina Miss Nations Nationals. So I'll be competing in November. So I actually came out of being on staff and the recruitment side and doing all that behind the scenes, and I'm going to compete. And while doing all this, I actually won 2 other titles that I have been trying for the last 5 years. We have some sister queens in UNN and MUI who have been been my sidekicks and been my supporters, and so I actually just won 2 titles. This June, I am actually supposed to give up my agribusiness title, in which the America's Miss Agribusiness System. I won my first national title. I had been competing with them for 5 years, and it took a lot. I was very shocked when I won. I'm actually supposed to give that up in June, but everything with the virus and everything's going on right now, so we don't know how that's going to work. But that was one of the biggest achievements that I had, and I spent numerous time with my coach. I spent numerous time sitting down, making a list, making a budget, and figuring out what I could do in my lifestyle to make my dream come true. So, like I said, I've been competing with them for 5 years. So that means I had stuff from nationals before. So I took the information that I had, that I learned, and I made sure that I tweaked and changed my outfits, and I took the judge's advice and I switched up some outfits and I made things different, and that helped a lot. So not only did I have items in my wardrobe that I had previously used, but that helped me save money because I didn't have to go out and buy a brand new outfit. Now, if it was an outfit that the judges didn't really like that well and it didn't work, we started over and we figured out ways to make an outfit that they would like on a cheaper budget, and it ended up paying off. So that was my first big accomplishment. And then we also have a sister program called Miss Celebrations, and I actually went and competed with them, and I actually won another national title. So I actually have 2 Sister Queen titles for those organizations, and I also have 2 titles with UNN and MUI. So when I say that I am constantly traveling and constantly budgeting, I am doing a lot. Because without budgeting, I wouldn't have been able to go and do a lot of the experiences that I've had. I know with MUI personally, like I said, I've been to Kentucky, I've been to Florida numerous of times. I've walked in New York Fashion Week. I've been all over the East Coast. I've been to Texas for events that people have reached out to me and asked me to come to because they see my face on the UNN website, or they see my face on the MUI website, and they see the work that I've put into the community, and they want me to come out there and help them. And I don't ever want to tell anybody no. So if I can make it happen, then I try to make it happen. Especially if they've given back to me in my community, why can I not give back to them? So going online and looking at different websites and just doing your research is definitely one of the best options that you can. Never give up on chasing your dreams. They're always very important. Let's see. Oh, we had some more says, hey guys! So if you guys are just joining in, we're talking about budgeting. Yes. Yes, Burgundy. I would not have been able to do a lot of the things that I've had, a lot of experiences that I've had. I have some health conditions, and so doctors never thought I would walk again. So nobody thought that I would be alive to even participate in pageants. So I'm lucky now today to be able to do what I love. Hey Kendra! I'm fortunate enough to be able to do what I love. And to make that happen, sometimes I make sacrifices. So if that means, hey, do I really need to go out and spend this extra money with my friends to go to a movie, and we've been to the movies 3 times this week? Or should I stay home and take that money and put it in the piggy bank so I can go do my nationals? Yeah. Sometimes I do that. And sometimes I'll look at my friends and tell them, hey, you know, this is really important to me. I really want to go to this event. We've been to the movies twice this week. I really can't go a 3rd time. And if you have people that are around you that support you and love you, they'll understand that. Or like, hey, instead of us going and spending money, how about we go like hiking or go on a walk or do something like that? Because the people that really love you and support you will be there to help you accomplish your goals. Because they want to see you do well in life. So like a lot of my friends, they come to me for advice and they're like, hey, I found this, but I don't want to spend this much. Like I had a friend who was like, hey, I want this makeup palette, but I don't want to spend this much on a makeup palette. I was like, okay, give me some time. I'll help you. I asked around. I asked a few makeup artists. I'm like, hey, you know, this palette has these certain colors in it. What's a cheaper brand that will help me get the exact same look that they want, but they don't want to pay all this money? So I went around and did some research and asked, and I got them a very similar palette that they loved, and they use it all the time. And people will come up to them and they'll be like, oh my goodness, the colors are so amazing. Are you using this set palette? And they're like, no, I got this palette. And they're like, oh my goodness, I really thought you were using this. There's a lot of different ways that you can budget, and you can find things that'll help you that are not just always big name brands. So that's definitely a way that I also save money too, is I find things that work just as well, that maybe cost just a little bit less. And I still have a great time and have a fun time. So let's see. We've got some more people hopping on. All right. Well, guys, it actually looks like my time is running out. So I just wanted to hop on here and give you some advice on budgeting. I hope you guys had a fun time. Remember to check the bio and the links below. We've put MUI, UNM, Kappa Nu Pi. You can always message me if you need some help on advice on, hey, budgeting, and does this sound like a realistic goal? Message me. I can definitely help you. And we'll help you make all your dreams come true. So, everyone have a great day. Bye, guys.